Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1467B, and today's date is January 9th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Something Devastating is Headed Our Way, which is a good thing. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, yesterday we reported on the Bundy case and how the judge was out there and they said this was a retrial. Well, the judge also dismissed all charges against the Bundy family, and it barred a retrial. So it looks like the government's push to take over his land and to frame him didn't work. And we can see that it is completely falling apart. Now, everything the cabal has been doing, like Russiagate, well, it's starting to fall apart right in front of their eyes. And basically, it's backfiring on them where everything is turning against them. And even though they tried to push this idea of Russiagate, we can see right now that the whole thing has no legs. William Binney, the former high-level National Security Agency official who devised the spy program, has stated, if there was any evidence of a Trump-Putin conspiracy to steal the U.S. presidential election, the NSA would most certainly have it. So where is the evidence? Why, after 1 year and a half, and a special prosecutor whose assignment is to get Trump, has no evidence whatsoever been found of the Trump-Putin conspiracy? The obvious answer is that no such conspiracy ever existed. The only conspiracy is the one against Trump. This has now become completely apparent, and the Russiagate originated in a fake Trump dossier, which we know there were certain individuals that paid for this. And we see right now that by doing this, the corporate media, the FBI, the CIA, well, the whole thing is falling apart around them. And it's taking its toll on the corporate media because the corporate media was continually pushing this. And now people are looking at this and saying, well, the corporate media, they told us this, but it turns out that it was a lie. The FBI said they had this proof. It turns out to be a lie. The CIA says they have this proof, and it turns out to be a lie. And what we're seeing right now is all of this is being turned around, and it shows that these individuals were using propaganda on the American people. And we can see right now that people need to start asking questions. You know, because we see the Congress, they're asking questions about this. And they're asking these questions, why didn't the corporate media, who are supposed to be investigatory reporters, why didn't they ask these questions? Why didn't they dig into it? Because they were controlled. They were fed these stories. Because the New York Times, Washington Post, NPR, CNN, because all of them, they're not real news organizations. They are the mouthpiece for the cabal. Now, what's very interesting is that WikiLeaks came out and said John Podesta was briefed on the gross negligence before the FBI removed the phrase. Now, they went over it, and there's an email that says that, yes, he looked it over, and they made a decision to change the wording, because if you kept that wording in there, then Clinton would be sent to jail. Now, if you look at it, and you read what, the statutory language is, it's the following. Whoever being entrusted with or having lawful possession or control of any document relating to the national defense through gross negligence permits the same to be removed from its proper place of custody or delivered to anyone in violation of his trust, or to be lost, stolen, abstracted, or destroyed, or having knowledge that the same has been illegally removed from its proper place of custody or delivered to anyone in violation of its trust, or lost or stolen, abstracted, or destroyed, and fails to make prompt report of such loss, theft, abstraction, or destruction to his superior officer, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And what they did is they read this over and they just changed the wording a little bit so this wouldn't be a problem. So to summarize all of this, former Bill Clinton Chief of Staff Tina Flournoy sent John Podesta an email to his Gmail account on March 9, 2016, with a Washington Post article containing a link to an opinion by a retired D.C. attorney who thinks Clinton committed gross negligence. Former FBI Director James Comey, original draft from May 2nd, contained the phrase, and at some point over the next 8 weeks, Peter Strzok, the man who headed up the investigation, removed it, materially changing the legal significance of Clinton's actions, effectively decriminalizing her behavior when Comey gave his speech on July 5th, 2016. And once again, it was an illusion, because the real facts, the real crime was there. But again, what does our government, what does the cabal do? What do they do best? They create illusions and make you believe that they're right. And you're crazy to think any other way. Now, what's very interesting is that the firm's attorney for Fusion GPS has dropped a bombshell. And the firm's attorney, Joshua Levy, explained to lawmakers why Simpson was reluctant to reveal much about their sources or method. Levy told the panel, "Somebody's already been killed as a result of the publication of this dossier, and no harm should come to anyone related to this honest work." Now, first of all, who was killed? It's not immediately clear who he's referring to. Did they kill someone? Because they're not dropping names. Now, it's been theorized that this is ex-KGB guy Oleg Aravkinin, who was chief of staff to Igor Sechin, but he was killed under suspicious circumstances on December 26, 2016, before the dossier was published. So, who is he really referring to? Who actually got killed? This is very interesting. Now, a Musk satellite was launched, and they're saying that something went wrong. And this was a secretive Zuma satellite, and they launched it into space aboard SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket from Cape Canaveral. And they're saying that this satellite was lost in space. Others are saying no. It looks like the payload dropped back down to Earth. But what's very interesting about all of this is that the payload is a mystery. We don't really know what's in there. It's secret. And what the other thing is that we don't know who paid for this. So, once again, was this part of the cabal trying to launch something into space, maybe some type of spy satellite, maybe some type of weapon or something else? Because right now, the payload came back down to Earth, and I think maybe this was sabotaged so their system wouldn't be in orbit right now. And we don't know exactly what that system is, but it looks like it was stopped, because it was funded by an unknown branch of the U.S. government. And of course, the payload is classified. And once they start saying that, you know it was most likely the intelligence community where they were putting something up there, and most likely it's something the people didn't want. It was something to benefit them, not the country, not the people. We see in North Korea and South Korea, the talks have begun. Now, what's very interesting about this is that the Wall Street Journal reported that the U.S. officials are debating whether it'd be possible to mount a limited military strike against the North. Now, the Wall Street Journal came out with that they're going to strike the North, but South Korea and North Korea are talking about peace and talking about the Olympics, which is kind of a cover to really talk about the real issues, about what they're going to do moving forward. And this is very interesting. Now, the 5-member North Korean delegation traveled to the border in a motorcade and then walked across the military demarcation line into the southern side of the truce village. And we see right now South Korea is also considering lifting the sanctions on North Korea. And the cabal, once again, does not like this. They want war. So what are we seeing? We're seeing the U.S. Navy's USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier is headed towards North Korea. It's supposed to arrive there during sometime in February. And we see right now that this is the second time the Carl Vinson has visited the Korean Peninsula area. And again, this is the cabal trying to put pressure on North Korea. Remember, there's still factions within the armed forces, within the government, that the cabal still controls. And at every turn, they're being stopped. They want a war very badly because they realize once all these indictments, and we know, and we're getting word that there's thousands of sealed indictments against these individuals, once all this starts to come out, guess what? It's game over, and they know this. So they need to do something before this happens. We see Israel forces. They carried out massive strikes on targets near Damascus. The Syrians are saying they intercepted at least 3 missiles right now. And once again, Israel is still trying to push their agenda in Syria. The cabal is still trying to push their goal in Syria. They just can't let it go. But there was this story that came out saying that, the U.S. was going to recognize the Kurdish territory. And this was put out by the cabal trying to convince everyone that Syria is going to be broken up and Iraq is going to be broken up. And that's already being shot down because the U.S. came out and said, listen, the U.S. remains committed to supporting Syria's territorial integrity, a united Syria. And this puts that to rest right at this point. They're saying the Syrian people, they will decide what happens to Syria. And like I said, we're going to see the troops come out of Syria because really at this point, there is no reason for them to be in there, but it's baby steps. Everything is being done through baby steps. One step at a time to make sure the cabal doesn't react in a way that we don't want them to react, and that would be some type of major false flag right off the bat, or get wind of what's really going on here. Now, they probably do know what's going on here, but doing all these small little steps one at a time, making everyone believe that Trump is with the corporate media, with the cabal, calling out, Kim Jong-un and, yelling and screaming about all this. This is all for show. This is the game. Because behind the scenes, there's a different game being played. And once again, this is to remove the cabal, to trap them in everything they do. And eventually what's going to happen, once all this happens and the indictments come out, they're going to move one step further. And that's going to get rid of the funding for the cabal, the central bank funding that has corrupted the United States. Now, this doesn't mean the central banks are just going to say, okay, hey, we're done here. We're not going to create any more currency anywhere else in the world. We know they're setting up shop in China. And we know they need some type of distraction to say, hey, our system fell apart and it wasn't because of us. Don't worry about it. We're going to manage a new system over here. I think what the Trump administration is trying to do is to say, listen, it was the central bank's fault. They're the ones who destroyed the economy, the world economy, along with the cabal. Hand in hand, they destroyed the world economy. They should not be allowed to restart it. Now, if we get to this point, if we can make it to this point, and this is the goal, we would take all power away from the central bank. Remember, Trump in his office has Andrew Jackson hanging on his wall. He put that there on purpose. He could have put Lincoln, could have put George Washington. The reason why he put Andrew Jackson there is because Andrew Jackson shut down the central bank system in the United States. I mean, they tried to assassinate him. It didn't work. They tried many other things. It didn't work. And this is why he has this in his office. So we can see right now, everything is in play. We're moving forward. And it's just a matter of time. Now again, the cabal, they're going to do whatever they have to do to keep their group intact. They don't want to be destroyed. They don't want to be brought up on trial, on charges. They don't want to be thrown into jail. The central bank doesn't want to lose the creation of currency, because he who controls the currency and puts countries into debt and enslaves people controls the world. And they like this control. They make a lot of money from it. They can control governments. They can control people. Our fight right now is against the cabal and the central bank. That is the true fight, to bring us back to a system where the people can control it. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.